right, let's go.
Good to go. So a couple, you guys know, drill, a couple comments from coach, and take questions.
Yeah, it was, your practice 10, so, you're in those moments where you almost have to test yourself and keep challenging yourself. Practice 10, practice 11, practice 12. It's different. When it's practice 2, 3, there's still that giddiness. But I thought our guys did a great job for a good chunk of the practice. Then I told I had the tight end group at the end, but especially offense in general. I thought we hit a lull around an hour 35, hour 40 into practice. And I shouldn't say that's common. If you are going to hit it, that's where it becomes mental. We hit a little bit of that lull, especially when we went through a certain period where the tempo was slowed down a little bit, and we just got to make sure that we know each play we're competing. So that'll be a good learning lesson for us. But then I thought we picked it up again, at the end when we went into a little play of the game. So always things to learn on, and honestly, the biggest thing I always talk about is hour 45, hour 50 minutes into practice. It's mental. At that point, it's mental. Everyone's tired. Everyone's at a certain moment.
We saw at the end, obviously you say you picked it up.
The offense won the competition period, and we saw Gerald running back and forth.
Yeah.
If you guys lose, are you?
Absolutely. I've been doing some running too. We haven't won all those, and we might have caught a little bit of break. I respect our D lineman stayed off our quarterback on the first one, but because that could have been close probably to a sack. So I call it like it is. But Ross stood in there, and Ray made a heck of a catch, and then we came back the next play, and Garbers hit Duncan and made a good play. So it was good to see us do that. But in the end, I didn't. When I ran my gassers, I was probably a good 50 yards behind wherever Gerald was running his gasser. So I watch him go through some drill stuff. I mean, he still got it. So, and I never had it. So I know how my gassers look.
What were the scenarios at the end, if you don't mind?
Oh, they were just 3rd and 5. So
okay.
We went 3rd and 5. We got the first one, but again, it's kind of bang bang, and those are hard in practice because you never know if there's a sack or not. Our guys are so smart about how we protect our teammates in that way, and but they ended up being a win for the offense in that way. So they went double or nothing, and we did the same thing up there on a 2-point play, and they beat us twice. So we ended up running the full gasser. So it's good competition. It goes back and forth.
How do you think? We saw Gavin made a couple of plays on Saturday. How has he developed? He's obviously gotten a little bigger too.
Yeah, he definitely. He's developing, really well. And I've seen it even just not from last year, but even from spring 1, 2, 3, and 4 to where he is now. Spring 10 and last Saturday, which was spring 8. He definitely did. So to me, he has taken some strides, not just from fall. And yeah, he's going to continue to put on size. I mean, he's got size 15 feet. He's a little younger than most of the guys, in this freshman class. So I think he's got some real room to grow when you look at his hands, his feet, and that stuff. So I'm excited about, just his progression that way.
You mentioned Ray making that catch earlier. Has he looked rusty at all, or by this point is he back to what you thought you were going to have?
Oh, like anybody. I mean, you have a whole season off and you're only 10 practices in, so there's always some of that. But no, he definitely adds a dimension. There's no doubt about it. And you can see, the veteran, stuff he does. He doesn't, things don't ever overwhelm him. And you're thinking, well, in spring, nothing should, but you'd be surprised. Sometimes, guys, they get in that competition moment, one play for gas or whatever it might be. Things like that don't overwhelm him. He's been in some of those, and he has just a real good demeanor. So definitely, seeing him, do some things. But he'd be the first to tell you, man, I'd still, obviously none of us are finished products, and where we are practice 10, we're still looking at, 30 plus before we play our first game, and a full summer of workouts and everything. So it's going to be exciting to keep him, watching him progress all the way through this senior year.
I saw Conavai and Demetrius come off. They're back with you guys. They're semi-full go.
No, they're not yet. So, I think Coach Wilcox spoke on that.
Yeah.
So they're kind of, date practice to practice, and we'll see where they are going into, Friday and then next week.
Not having those guys, obviously those are the two, the big name guys, but not having them, how has that allowed you to help to kind of develop everybody else?
Oh, just, you start getting, reps for other guys, like anything. And sometimes it can be, you're as a coordinator in that way, you can get frustrated, because, and it's not even the guys' faults that are in there. They just haven't had a lot of game reps.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to stop and think, okay, we're able to coach off this film. Even though, a veteran might have done something a little different, maybe we would have won on that particular spring play, and we didn't because we're still in teaching mode with some of the younger guys. But at the end of the day, that makes you better. in terms of continuing to develop those guys. And they're all sponges, man. They all, so all of a sudden some young guys, some new guys, getting in there, they're making plays too, so as a coach, you just appreciate that, and respect how hard they're working, given that we're a little down in numbers.
It's been a while since we talked, but talk about the two new guys you're gonna get in, obviously Bunting and Maurice.
Excited about both of them. And I'm not just excited because I know they're talented football players. I really appreciated just the visits with both of them. I really appreciated, visiting with them, truly getting a chance to get to know both of them, and who they are as people, as much as what they'll do. So when you say that, the character they bring, the right type of mentality, the stuff to the locker room, just everything, how they're coached, how they're, so to me, it's not just about what you bring in terms of a skill set. So yeah, I'm excited about that. There's no question. They just add to what we have here, and they'll come in and compete right from the get-go. But I'm also excited about, like I said, the type of character and the people they will be.
What do they bring on the field?
On the field, both of them have tremendous size. Obviously they play two positions, two different positions, with one being a tight end and one being a receiver, but they both bring size to their respective positions. And then a skill set, ball skills, and an ability to both be real strong both in the pass and run game. And definitely that's an obvious factor with a tight end. Can he be strong in both the run and the pass game? And that's what Ian brings. There's no question about it. He's very versatile. You don't feel like there's certain things you'd ever be limited with him. And then I also say that with the receiver game too. You say, well, what does that have to do with the run game? But when you get into perimeter runs and some of the things, and even swing screens or things like that, that's what Mo also brings, is that ability, to not only, do some things in route running, do some things with our passing game, but also a physical presence out there on the perimeter, to make some of our stretch stuff and some of the things that we're getting outside the tackle box even better.
Like when you get Laird out there on the perimeter,
Yeah.
It's nice to have a big body to block for him.
No question. You're exactly right. And we do enough stuff where we try and do that with Laird, and that definitely, it's an added piece. It's like you're running outside zone. You're just out there now running it with wideouts rather than up front.
What do you thought of Netherda, what he's brought to the room?
Done a really good job. I mean, he's, probably, I shouldn't say it surprised me, because, I've always just, I say always within the last, 12 months, time I've been able to see him, just respected just what a football player is. He's just that. He's a football player. No matter what position he plays, he's a football player. So, but there are some natural things at running back that have even probably I've said, whoa, that's even a little more natural than I thought it might be, first 10 practices on the job. So been really, but he works at it. It does, it's not just, when I say natural, I mean, it's almost the wrong thing. He is natural, but he works at it. So it's not just, you're not just smart because you're smart because you work hard and study and you do those things. Same thing with that. You're not just good at a position just because you're good. You're good at it because you work hard and you do those things. So I respect just how he approaches it, and he's put himself in a good position to have some success already, 10 practices in.
Spoke last Wednesday about paring down some of the quarterback reps. Have you guys continued to do that?
We have, but like I said, sometimes it's just pared down with at practice. It's not necessarily pared down total. It's pared down with maybe we'll focus on a different 2 or a different 3 going into practice, in terms of a combination. So, and and Coach Dewey does a great job, just in terms of managing that, and we talk it through. But we're at a good spot with where we are, I think rep wise and evaluation wise.
With some of the receivers being out, one guy I've noticed is number 36, Hiroki Endo.
Yeah.
He kind of popped up on the roster. How'd you guys get him? And
I don't even know the whole story behind that. I mean, I really don't, but I'm glad we have him. He's out there, he's working hard. I think he came here, was in our video room at first, as far as that goes. So I'm just kind of learning that, but he's out there competing, and he brings some stuff to the table, so he definitely, I'm certainly glad we have him.
All right.